Hey, let me check in with the 2003 book Dissolution by C.J. Sansom, which is the first in the Shardlk mystery series. This is set in Tudor England, specifically 1537, I believe, and follows Michael Shardlk, a hunchback who I guess when he kind of turned hunchback when he was about 4 or 5. This made him totally unfit to inherit and continue with his father's kind of farming thing. So he got an education. He kind of had the fervor for like, oh, I want to become a priest and stuff like that, but was told by one of the very corrupt and venal um, monks who was not doing a particularly good job of actually teaching him Latin and all that. That's like, of course, we wouldn't actually let you um, become a priest. Man is supposed to be in the image of God, and you are obviously so not in the image of God that we would not want you. He gets, obviously very disillusioned by this. He actually has a vision. He has a thing that says, because he's super depressed after getting this kind of crap from this monk, but that it's a voice. He feels like a voice speaks to him, and he believes it's Jesus Christ who says, "You are not alone. You are not alone." And he's prayed, and he's kind of meditated for the rest of his life so far, thinking on that and hoping that he would maybe talk to him again, but it never has. What he does do is go into the service of historical personage um, Thomas Cromwell, and his great thing of doing kind of reforming the thing. He falls in with um, he gets falls in with like Erasmus and with the theses of Martin Luther and all that, and basically it becomes one of Cromwell's men, kind of helping him along, and as a lawyer, kind of doing all the kind of the heavy legwork with all this stuff. And he gets a call from Cromwell to come see him because there's a problem that needs to get solved, and it needs to get solved quietly. And what it is because they are indeed doing the dissolution of the church. They are basically shutting down, starting off with the small churches, but working their way up to take the money of the church and all the stuff from them. Now that Henry is decided to split away from the Roman Catholic Church, it's like, well, this is where there's a major hunk of change. So they've got these commissionaires going around the country, basically kind of, A, they've been gathering kind of the dirt on them, and B, they're going to just basically, tabulate what's there of value, so that when they do take them over, they know what there is and they collect it all, because it's all going into the king's coffers and then getting redistributed to various places. As his friend Michael points out, some of this is just going to his cronies, so there's corruption on that side as well. But Shardlk is very much the opinion that yes, there is some, of course, but that Cromwell is somebody who wants to do good works. Like, they're going to do all this stuff, and then good works will result afterwards, not enriching and fattening monks who aren't really particularly doing much for anyone. But there's been an issue of one of the commissionaires has been murdered at one of the churches, and this is significant because it's basically someone has, this is all done on precedent. We're trying to build precedent for the dissolution of these churches. This is early days, but another precedent has now been set, which is literal striking down of a king's representative, of the king's justice. And they've kept it quiet because they don't want anyone else getting any ideas. There has been open rebellion in the north. I know this because I've been reading my Hilary Mantel. I've been reading oh god damn, the history book by that guy whose name is completely gone me, Cromwell, A Revolutionary Life. And so they're worried that the things could turn nasty, and so they want this. Cromwell wants this dealt with quietly. He has not told the king, because the king would just go in and hang the abbot and just make a big ruckus. He wants this found out, done quietly. So he and Michael travel to the monastery. They stop in a place, and it's like, yeah, they're not particularly popular guys. He is viewed as bad luck, as a cripple. There are ex monks, ragged people who have obviously kind of turned to kind of life of crime and stuff like that, because they've been completely divvied out. Yes, the big upper mucky mucks get pensioned off, but a lot of the servants and all that just get turned out. So you're creating a large swath of people who are disenfranchised and really pissed off about things, and are not going to particularly, look kindly on people like him. And indeed, when they get to the monastery, there's plenty more people like that, including a white-robed Carthusian, a Jerome of London, who was one of the Carthusian sect in London. Majority of them refused to swear loyalty to the king, not the Pope, but the king. And so that majority of them were executed. Now, Jerome of London, he apparently was racked, tortured, and did actually end up swearing loyalty, but is, as the prior there says, he's completely cracked. He's gone crazy. Please just ignore him. He's been pensioned off here. But, obviously, red herring number one of someone who might quite insanely decide to strike down a king's representative and not expect, horrible repercussions of that to happen. So yeah, that's where we are now. I was beginning to wonder at the start, because I was like, oh, okay, people are going to compare this to Mantell, or people are going to compare this to, Mantell came to my mind. But now that we're at the monastery, and it's like, oh, this is why everyone kept on going on about, Name of the Rose, Umberto Eco, which, that is a super dense, interesting, rich book, but I'm quite happy with a slightly lighter, though maybe historically accurate, look at a monastery being eyed by Cromwell and his men for dissolution in 1537. So it doesn't have to get as wide ranging. So yeah, that's the first 4 chapters of Dissolution by C.J. Sansom. More videos later.